Hi, this is Glenda, and I'm making tonight a strawberry themed soap for my Valentine soap series. The first thing that I do is that I add the sodium lactate to the light water solution, which is pretty much distilled water with sodium hydroxide. It is currently at 78 degrees Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. The oils, on the other hand, I have warmed up to 97 Fahrenheit, which is 37, I think, Celsius. I will be using a single colorant for this soap, which is rose mica. I got it originally from Brambleberry, and I'm using a quarter teaspoon to begin with. Later I will add more. This is the fragrance that I will be using. It's called Strawberry Kiwi from Lone Star Candle Supply, and I have never used it by itself, so I'm not quite sure how it behaves. I will distribute the mica into the oils first, and it got into a color that reminded me of watermelon juice. It sort of reminds me of that color, and it does have some notes of gold, the mica, which I think is why it has more of a coral tone at this point. I'm adding the light water solution to the oils, and I'm just going to stir it before using the stick blender. So after I stir it for a few seconds, then I go ahead and introduce a stick blender, and I'm going to blend it until it reaches either emulsion or a very light trace. I am separating a portion of the soap in the smaller container you see on top, and this is to create some piping on top at the end. So to whatever is left, I did add more mica to give it a darker pink. And actually the pink that the soap has right now is one that I like. However, because I know that it's going to lighten up even more after it becomes soap, I went ahead and added an extra quarter teaspoon, so for a total of 3/4 teaspoons of the mica, which is giving me right now what seems to be a bubblegum pink. And at this point I'm testing for trace to see if it has reached trace. I could feel that the soap was getting thicker, and I suspect that it was the fragrance causing this. So I went ahead and poured it in the mold. I did not have any big designs for the soap because I did not know how the fragrance behaved, and this is a makeshift tall and skinny mold. I miscalculated the size of the mold, and I didn't put as much as I would have wanted it to put on the soap. You can tell that it doesn't even feel, it doesn't come to the top of the edge. So this may have to be just smaller bars. Then I went back to the portion that I had separated from the beginning, and I added a little bit of the portion, the leftover piece. I did want the piping to be dual tone with a lighter pink and a darker pink. And what ended up happening was that the portion that was the lighter pink had not set up all the way. I waited for maybe about 10 minutes and it remained soft, so I probably should have waited longer. Then the other part that was the darker pink, because it did have fragrance, it was getting thick and it was getting solid sooner than that one. And so I became concerned that it was going to be too hard to pipe. So I compromised and I started putting it in the piping bag. And as I was piping it, I realized that the darker pink was actually coming out better because it was more solidified than the lighter pink, which was still a bit runny. But anyway, you live and learn. I am fairly new to piping, so I'm not really sure what tip this was. It looked like a star tip, but I'm not for certain though. And I did try to twist it at some points to see if it would create more interesting patterns. I'm not sure if that worked entirely. I did have more piping material than I had anticipated, so I went ahead and I did a second row. I also wanted each bar to have distinct lines from the piping, so I made sure I left some room in between. so that this could be seen. Then it was time to add the embeds, which are this chocolate covered strawberries made with soap dough. In my previous strawberry soap, I had made some embeds that were quite big, as you can see here. This time I wanted to go more of a miniature route, so I made the strawberries significantly smaller. I felt this look a little bit bare, so I decided to add some glitter, and I am testing this Pamper Chef powdered sugar dispenser. I hardly ever decorate anything with powdered sugar, so I figure I could use it for glitter. I'm using Mama Clown's cosmetic glitter. This is the snow, I believe. And one thing that I realized very soon was that I should have removed, or I should have put the glitter first and then the strawberry embeds, because the glitter got on them too and I didn't want that to happen. I did try to remove them later, and I was able to do that with a moistened towel. So this is what it looks like. And the next day, maybe about 22 hours later, I was able to remove it from the mold. The fragrance ended up accelerating, like it hardened quite fast, so it made the release from the liner actually quite easy. Since there are no swirls, I'm just curious to see if the pink looks any different on the inside than it does on the outside. And so far, it doesn't. It just looks the same. And I'm actually happy with how it came out. The fragrance was supposed to have a small amount of vanillin. However, so far I have not seen any discoloration changes. If that happens to change, I'll make sure to update the description box. So far it's been 10 days since I made them. Anyway, this is it. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.